All right, we're live. It's been a while since I've done this, so I'm gonna test this out, see if I can get this running. Actually, I have. Let me see if I can find. Let me just see if I can find some background music. I'm trying to remember last time I did this. I have. What is it? Is it Restream that has the music, or does OBS have it, or Restream music? Maybe it's. Let me see if I can find it. I know I had Restream Studio. Okay, so let me just get this set up. I'm just going to double check that everything is streaming. This is the first time I've streamed in a while, so I do want to make sure that it's all running. And then I will let everyone know what I'm kind of working on today. And yeah, it looks like it's running. Looks good on Instagram. Let's see if it's running on Twitter. Looks good on Twitter. Nice. Twitter's live streaming has made quite a big difference. Okay, that looks good. And then I'm sure Twitch and everything else is good. Okay, so let's go see if I can find the music. I'm trying to remember. I had a window. I don't know if audio sources, maybe I still have it. Let me see. Music. Chat alerts, viewers. I don't remember. I had a system for doing music. What would it be on Twitch music? We can go without the music, I guess. If you join and you're annoyed by no music, well, that's be the least annoying thing about the stream. Okay, so let's set up what I'm going to do. So it's been a while since I've streamed, and what I wanted to do today is it's been just about 4 years, just a little bit over 4 years since I originally started doing 3D. And I started the way that a lot of people start with the Blender Donut tutorial by Blender Guru, Andrew Price. It's kind of the best place, I think, to start. If you're trying to learn 3D, you learn a little bit about how to navigate, Blender, the viewport. You get the basics, you do some modeling, you do some texture painting, you do some rendering, some lighting, you do some particles. I mean, it's really great. It's been updated. I think there's a new version, which I've never actually watched, but I did the original version, and it kind of set me off on this entire journey, doing 3D. So what I wanted to do was like kind of as an experiment, 4 years of doing this now. I use Blender quite a bit. I use Unreal Engine as well. I wanted to see, what would be, what would it be like just to start from scratch, not watch any tutorial? So I haven't gone back to rewatch it. I was tempted to rewatch it just to kind of like learn some of the basics and just kind of remember how I did it. But I thought, no, I'm just going to do it, from scratch. So without the use of any tutorials, no Googling, no guides. I guess if I like ran into an issue, I guess the Blender manual is inbounds. I don't think I'm going to have to use it. But basically, just start from scratch, try to recreate my Blender donut in the best way I can, and see what the results. So I'm gonna grab the image. Let me just see if I can grab this here. Bring this image up. Let's see, where's my project? Blender donut recreation output scene. Okay, so let's bring this up. All right, so here's what we're working with. So this was my original donut that I did 4 years ago. I was really happy with it at the time, and looking at it now, like it's not that bad. There's some things, but I'm like a little nervous because, there's some stuff in here that I'm like, I don't remember how I even did that. This was the original donut, so here's two views. I went and grabbed a bunch of references for, what I kind of wanted to render. I want to do something similar to this, but I kind of had my eye on these kind of glazed donuts as an option. I'm going to kind of decide. I want to definitely do the sprinkles on it. But there's something about like these donuts that just look, I don't know, so appetizing compared to the blue ones. Now, here's what's crazy is you can't find stock photography of donuts anymore. I went and I looked for any photo I could find of donuts, and everything that was coming up was either the original was actually the donut tutorials. Like, I'm pretty sure that that is a render. That could be a photo. It's hard. It says Shutterstock. This is definitely a render. This might be a photo. This should be a game. Photo, render, or AI. Everything was one of those. Like, everything was AI or it was a photo. It was hard to tell. So I was like, okay, I'm pretty confident that this is a real photo. I'm pretty confident this is a real photo. Who knows? But I was like, let me get the references. And I think what I might do is try to get this kind of texture, color, kind of get this like close, and then potentially see about adding the sprinkles, which I definitely want to do because that's kind of part of the original tutorial. And then maybe change this to blue. I don't know how that's going to look, but I'm going to give myself 1 hour to do this, which seems like it should be plenty, but I haven't tested this. I don't know. Feel like I can move pretty quick. The goal would be at 1 hour mark. Once I kind of set the timer here and we start, I'll hit render, and whatever I have at the end, that's it. That's the full thing. So no Googling, no ChatGPT, no tutorials. This is going to be pure, like, what do I know? I say maybe the manual, but I think that would only be if I just, like, there's a shortcut or something. I'm pretty confident I'm not going to need it. How I'm going to do this and whether I'm going to be able to get some of this stuff, I'm not sure. No texture, so I'm not going to go out and grab, textures from third party. I'm going to try to do this all from scratch, using procedural shaders and nodes. I haven't decided whether I'm going to do the particles with geometry nodes or the particle system. I know geometry nodes a bit, but I'd use Unreal Engine a lot, and I get confused on terminology. Anyway, it doesn't matter. One of the ways I'm going to do it. So once I start the timer, that's going to be it. We're going to work on this. This reference is going to be hidden behind my my screen here. So this is what I'll be kind of looking at. I may show it from time to time. Oh God, I love streaming. It's amazing. Hey homie, this is the chat. This is the chat here. Hey homie, you stream so really well. I do see you streaming a lot. I haven't streamed in like 2 months, but still not affiliated or partnered. He's got a proposal for me. He's going to share my stream to a Kik community to hit 1,000 followers and earn nothing less than 1,000 per streaming and enable your sub button. All right, Ray. So I just got to add Ray on Discord. Ray's going to just, I'm sure, do this for free. And Ray's going to get me 1,000 Kik stream followers. Ray, if you can do it on this stream, I'll pay you. Is it really true you get $1,000 if you get 1,000 followers on? Yeah, okay. I know it's a scam, but just Ray, you can go ahead, send 1,000 followers here. I'll send you a check after. Okay. I'm stalling because I'm a little bit nervous, to be honest. Yeah, this is a little bit intimidating, but we're gonna go for it. So let's see. Anything else? Any last second? I guess I should just double check the audio, make sure it's working. Because let's just do a double check here. Second, I guess I should just. All right, I got audio. All right, no excuses. Let's do it. God, I don't know why I'm so nervous to do this. Something about just like having the time limit and modeling something that's like so basic and easy and like the first thing you did, and then knowing that like I've been doing this for 4 years and I think like I should be able to do it better than that, but right now I'm looking at it going like, I don't know some of the ways that I did some of those things. And okay, I'm stalling. All right, let's set the timer. It's 10:20 now. So when this hits 10:21, we're going to officially start the timer. It's 10:20 for me. It is Pacific time right now, so this is going to end exactly 1 hour from now. It'll be 11:21. I don't think I can set any kind of a timer or anything, but I'm just going to have to, actually I'll set a timer on my phone, and then we'll get cracking. Okay, let's set a timer. Oh, when timer ends, sprinkles. Perfect. Okay, it just started. We'll set this for 1 hour. And here we go. Let's start. Okay, so let's delete the default cube. I don't know how long I'll actually talk through this. I'm going to switch this over to rendered view. So we just have like a live render of this thing as we're going. I do know, I do remember everything starts with Taurus. Let's not close this out and let's get our setup. So, oh, this is one thing I should have Googled, which is the size of a donut. I don't think it's going to matter, but I feel like this is, can I Google? I think I should be able to Google the size of a donut. Let me just remember the size of a donut. So I have some dimensions here. 3 to 4 inches and height of 1 inch. Okay, perfect. So we're going to go, major radius is, we'll say 3.5 inches. We'll say minor radius will be, we'll just zoom this in here and kind of see, just trying to do this to scale. I guess we can't really get height. So I guess we'll just kind of look at this as we go. I don't remember if we should actually add, let's try to make these as square as possible. We'll say 40 by 20, we'll go 48 by 24. And try to get that pretty close. I think that's going to look pretty good. Let's take a look at the shape, generate UVs. I think this is probably pretty good shape-wise. I definitely wanted to go, I'm just looking at my reference. Yeah, I think this is pretty good. Okay, let's go. So let's hit this shade smooth. All right, so we have a donut. Okay, so it's like already I'm like panicking on like what the first things to do is. Okay, so a couple things we got to do. First of all, I got to kind of just adjust the shape of the donut. So we're going to go ahead and we'll just do some proportional editing. So if I remember this right, I mean, we just want to add a little bit of kind of distortion to this donut. Nothing crazy. Let's bring this down and just sort of add a little bit, you know, here in a little bit, like in here, just to kind of make it a little bit not exactly proportional. I'm gonna bring this side up a little bit here. Bring this side down. I think the hardest part about this challenge is going to be just, you know, that tendency you have to just not get the basics done. You know, you sort of go into too far with these little details, and then you know you kind of realize after that you left yourself not enough real time at the end. That would be probably the biggest risk. I think just got to get this looking decent to kind of start, and then I can do a lot of stuff. If I get myself, in a good shape, I'll do a little backdrop and, make kind of lighting and everything, as good as I can. Otherwise, I'll just do a transparent background. If I don't pay attention in the chat, don't be mad. It's just, I'm just going to want to focus on getting this done. But yeah. Okay, so one thing I'm going to do is just as a backup thing. So I'm just going to go, and this is just a habit of mine. So I name things according to like Unreal standards. So donut. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just back up a lot of stuff. So we're just going to do a new collection. What is the shortcut for new collection? So do new collection donut. And then we're just going to drop this in here. And then we're just going to do duplicate. And we're just going to call this donut. Archive. It should be called backup, but that's fine. Okay, so let's shut this one off. So I'll keep doing this constantly just so I don't, I'm not going to like be saving. We'll just go save this. I'm wasting too much time here. Blender donut recreation, Blender. I mean, if it crashes, at least we'll have a backup. 2.0. Okay, cool. So we have, little backups here and there. Okay, so now the next thing to do is pull the icing off, which I think I would do before I would texture. So let's just do that. So basically we back up, we just take a copy of the donut, and then what we want to do is switch over to a side view. And then because we're going to get quite a bit of icing here, I think I'm going to go down to this part. I think I can always trim it. And then I guess I could have done that opposite. I'll just invert this and I'll delete these vertices. And then, yeah. Oh, that's first mistake. Duplicate this and let's go all, select all, and then bring this back here. And then let's grab, there we go. And then let's just do, yeah, I think that's going to do the trick. So let's delete these vertices. Okay. Turn that back off. All right. So now we have our icing. Okay, so let's go donut icing. All right. So here's the thing with this. So I think with the donut icing, we're just going to bring it a little bit up. We're going to want to add some thickness to it, I think, if I want to add, yeah. Okay, so from the tutorial, I remember this being one of the weirder ones, which you can do this a bunch of different ways. I'm going to add a subdivision to this and just give it a little bit more geometry. And then I think that there's two, I mean, you could do proportional editing here, and you could just start to kind of droop this down and see what to do. But I think I remember we did this with sculpting. So let's try it with sculpting and see. Let's just scale it up a little bit and then just see how this is going to work. So let's see for grabbing. Let's see. Why is that not working? Okay, it is working. Okay, so we're getting something there. I wonder if I should have done this donut. Ugh, if I should have done this donut first. I don't think it's going to matter, but I probably should do it first. Okay, let's go back in here. Let's go into, oh, that's why we added the subdivision for this. Okay, there we go. I don't know why that wasn't working. We'll be on draw sharp, clay thumb. Yeah, that'd probably work. Okay, so there's a lot of ways to do this stuff, but I'm just gonna kind of do it this way. So I'm basically just adding a little bit of that. This could turn out to be a bad idea. Yeah, I'm just trying to add a little bit of the shape. Maybe draw, maybe minus. Oh, there we go. It's one of these things where you don't realize it. Probably just maybe switch this to matte cap. Yeah, sometimes just with the lighting, you don't really realize how much you're affecting this. I think that icing is going to be. No, that was when I was thinking about this earlier. I was like, that's probably the thing that is going to cause the most pain. Okay. Don't want to overdo it. Just kind of look at the shape here a little bit. Okay. I think that looks pretty good. Okay, so let's go back. Let's go grab our icing. Now, let's say, let's get rid of this. Let's grab this now. Let's go to this view. And let's go to here. Duplicate. Copy. Yeah, let's go delete vertices. Okay, let's go with that. All right. Oh, jeez. Make sure that I'm getting. Okay. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. So, all right. Okay, so this is our icing. And I would say let's go back into sculpt mode here with this icing. And let's just see if we can use the grab tool. feel like this is going to be a problem. Okay. All right. 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 We need to scale this up just a tiny bit. Okay. And then okay. There a little now there was a way to do this. So if we start doing it like that, we're going to run into issues because we're going to end up pushing it through. Now, if there was a way, and I don't remember, there's a way for us to okay, so what I want to do is I want to pull this down, but I want to have it stick to the geometry. And I'm trying to remember if there's going to be a way for us to do this. So we can obviously do snapping, and then we can do snapping to face. And I think if we do this, no, that's not going to do it. We want to go face, closest center, line rotation, back face culling, include active. I think that should work. Why is that not working? Okay, I think it's snap. Maybe it's trying to snap now. Okay, yeah, it is snapping now. It's because the proportional's on. This sort of being a little bit wonky. Right, so if we get, think of the way. There's got to be a way to do this. This is where. Why is the increment so much? Oh, because it's on a face? I feel like it shouldn't go that crazy. Just there is a decent amount of faces there. I don't know if a subdivision will make a difference. Let's just see. I think it's switching it to down. Okay, I think this is working. It's just all right. I remember the pain of this. I'm hoping all these will. In worst case, I'll fix them at the end. Hoping this is going to end up working. I think with the proportional, yeah. So what's happening is whatever vertex I'm clicking is actually snapping properly to the faces, but then what happens is the other ones around them, because they're just kind of following the first one, can drop below. See, like this one will drop down if this one is impacted. So I'm just trying to do a little bit of this. And then, the thing about the dripping is going to be interesting because I feel like if we were all kind of looking at this with fresh eyes, I feel like there would be a better way to do this dripping part, but yeah. And then I remember pulling these down, and I remember you kind of want to pull them down to get, once I turn off proportional editing, I'll just go around and make sure all these things are not pushing in. Yeah, I think like one of the things would be I remember doing like, say I want this to come down, right, as like a real, drip. And I remember the shape of this being, once you add the subdivision, it will smooth out. But like to get that like real drip, like it's going all the way down, I remember. So let's just kind of, for fun, like this looks terrible like this, but like just for fun, let's add a subdivision onto this and just kind of see how, so see it smooths out a little bit here. I think I don't want to go too far on this. I think the smart thing to do would be just get the basic shape, get the texturing looking right, and then I can always come back to this and, kind of clean this up later on. I think that's just because there's not enough geometry there. It kind of pops out. That's probably all that is. Okay, let's get this some texture going here, and then we'll fix these. Yeah, I think all that is just the shape of, the donut coming out is just like there's not enough geometry there for it to curve around. We can probably apply the subdivision or look at it and probably fix that. Okay, let's not stress about it here. And then even in this thing, we're probably going to have a few issues. Okay, so let's hide the icing and let's get this donut. Let's get this donut looking right. Okay, so we're in rendered view over here, so we can kind of get a feel for this thing. And then it's going to be an interesting one. Okay. So let's get some texture on this thing. So this is another thing I was trying to remember afterwards. Okay, so we can just get the base color, and we'll just grab kind of a golden color here. And then what we're going to end up doing is a bunch of stuff with bump and roughness. Now, why did I break something there? Oh man, what did I do? I subdivided half the donut. That is a problem. Oh my God. I don't even know how. Oh my God, I don't even know. I've never done this before. Unsubdivide? Okay, thank God. I was like, I've never subdivided half of an object before. Okay, damn, that was a little bit scary. Okay, so yeah, we got a basic shape of the donut. And then, I have an HDRI in here, which is something that I probably didn't have last time. But here's the donut. So there's, some lighting you can see. There's, the shape is okay. And now there's a couple things I remember from this. There's one is, obviously we're going to add a bunch of noise here to get like color discoloration, different spots. We're going to try to get some bump into here with the noise texture. We're going to maybe even see about adding a bit of subsurface to this because there's kind of like a little bit of a see-through. But I remember like there was this thing I just remember from the tutorial, right, is getting this sort of like lighter area where you flip it, where the oil is not on this side or this side, was coming from a I remember from texture painting, and texture painting is absolutely my like bane of my existence in Blender. But I should not try to remember how did it. I should just do it how I would do it now. So let's get an image texture, and this might have been texture a fry, we'll call it. This might have been how we did it. I can't honestly remember. And then the way that I would do this is I would just basically take, well, I don't even think we need two of these. We just basically need, we can just mix color, I think would probably be the better. We could do this with mix shader, but I think this is probably the better, easiest way to do it. So we're going to take the color into the factor, and we'll bring this color over here. And then just for fun, I shouldn't sample my original donut. Even though you can't really see the frying on this one, I think I'm just going to use like that color just for a little bit lighter. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take this texture and let's just see what happens. So something about, oh, right. What's our UV situation? I did some weird stuff there, which is probably going to be an issue. I don't even remember if we did UV unwrapping or if I just messed that up by doing. Did I just mess it up by doing all that subdivision? I'm just curious. If I do a torus, just like a regular torus, what's my UV situation? Oh, it is just the same. I mean, I messed it up a little bit down here, but I don't think shader, if I take this shader material and just bring this on to this one for a second, shade smooth, and then just go to texture painting. Oh, let's bring that down. So that one's fine. Oh man, what did I screw that up badly? Versus this guy, where my UVs are. I mean, I definitely caused an issue with that. What did I do? Ooh, yeah. Is it messed up? You know, maybe it's not. Maybe it's not messed up. Maybe it's just something I did there. All right, let's just fill it all with black again. Okay, let's try that again and see. Okay, there, it's fine. Weird. Okay, so let's just bring the strength down. Let's just kind of get this painted. Do we want to do... I think probably easier to do it like this. And then we'll just adjust it after and then use like a color ramp. Yeah, it was something there with the textures that went weird. I don't know if I'm going to get away with this or not, to be honest. What that issue was there. I don't know if just maybe when I did the subdivision, brought it back, something about those UVs right at that spot got messed up. See that? God, I feel like that's going to be an issue. I mean, worst case, I can just do some unwrapping after. I just think, what did we just do? Okay, let's just go. Let's just see if our actual. So our image should work. So it should be able to mix the two colors together. Why is it not? Oh, because save it. Sure. And then let's switch this back and then back. This is a cycles thing. Why is that not working? Donut. Material 1. Why are you not? Why are you not updating? Why would that not update? So just on the wrong menu. What did I just do? What did I just do? What did I just do? Oh, oh my God, that's so funny. I had a duplicate. Okay. This is going to be the death of me, I can tell right now. Okay. So what I should have done was I should have done a much more eloquent mix there. But I think I can kind of fade it back in. Oh, that texture is gonna absolutely ruin me. What would be? Did we? I'm trying to remember. I mean, the UV on this one was fine. So what was the deal? Man, I'm gonna waste so much time on this. Okay, so the UVs on this are fine, and then what happened to my UVs on that? What the heck did I do? Did I do like a duplicated or something? I feel like I duplicated this thing or something weird. No? Why are these duplicate? Or if it's this way or this way. Oh man, I definitely messed something up here. This is gonna. It's like, it's like, do I just quickly redo that donut? Wait, I have my backup copy. What was the backup looking like? Okay, so the UVs on this one were fine. So what did I change between this and that? Let's get rid of this torus. This has all the shape. I didn't change anything. Okay, let's just do that. Let's go to the backup. Okay, you're the archive now. You're the new donut. You're the donut. You're the archive. Oh man, this is so funny. Okay, here we go. Oh man, I hate that, and I hate that I didn't. Okay, so let's just try this now. So shader, let's just grab material two. This is good. Donut material. Okay, so let's get rid of the archive. Let's just get rid of the icing for now. Okay, let's go back to texture paint. Hopefully this one is fine. Yeah, this one I think is going to be okay. Okay, the problem would be it'd be nice to follow the shape of this. Hopefully this is not an issue. Probably should do it this way. Do we have fall off smoothest? Ooh. Okay. Okay, that's good enough for now. All right, so let's put a color ramp between these two. And then let's just sort of start to tweak this a little bit. So that's going to obviously tweak in. And what I want is, I don't know if I want to just make the color closer. Okay, let's go with that. All right, let's get some texture to this donut. All right, and I think that UV would have crushed me. Oh, Adam. Yeah, sorry, I haven't streamed, buddy. Don't worry about it. There's nothing to catch up. Black, the chosen one, saying, "Wow, don't say that. Don't say wow." This is pretty bad right now. It's crazy. It's just like I knew in my head that this was going to be like more. This was going to be more challenging than I thought it should be. But let's just kind of, I don't know why. Okay. So what I want to do is a couple things. I want to do, let's get the kind of the bump going first. So let me just get that running. So try and remember. So I want the factor into the height, and then I want to bring the normal into here. And then let's look at this noise texture. And I think we can do this on UV. Let's get a color ramp in here. Let's bring this down and down so we can kind of see it. Okay, so let's get the texture on the donut. I'm just going to get back to my my reference here. So I think we just want a bunch of basically like ununiform, something like this. Lots of detail. I definitely don't think we want I think we want lots of roughness. Maybe some of that. Don't think we want any distortion. Kind of zoom in and picture this. Let's get our view 0.001 so we can kind of really zoom in and see. We're too close. This might not be too bad. Let's just kind of see what that looks like. Okay, we got a little bit of bump, and then it's not what I want right now. Okay, this is not what I want, but let's get this to 0.1. Okay, let's start with at least that for now. And then what do I want to do with this? So I want to get some discoloration across the whole thing. So let's see, we're using this mix, and this is probably already even. Let's just bring this even more so. And then let's get another mix node. Let's put it do we want to do this with either brightness contrast or either way, we need mix color. And then this one in here. And then what we want to do is just we can copy this. Copy this up here. And then bring this into the factor. And then for the other color, I mean, one of the ways I can do this is, I don't know if this is like, seems like a stupid way to do it, but I'm just not thinking of like another way. We just take this color in here and just drop the brightness down just a tiny bit. And then take a look at this color ramp, scale way up, or sorry, way down. And then detail probably down, roughness down. I think probably like maybe like something like that. Let's try this. Okay, so let's just see what we got. So it should be taking the color in here. Okay, so it's doing it subtly. So let's just bring this up. Okay, so there we go. Did we actually, I wonder, did we actually do displacement as well? We must have, right? And my guess is what we did. My guess is what we did is we probably did. Just mess around with this for a second. Should probably save this. my God, is it 11 o'clock? What did I say? Oh my God, I have 20 minutes left. Oh my God, it's so stupid. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. I can't believe I didn't give myself. Oh my God, it's so dumb. What is that? What is that like? What is that coming from? Okay, what I need to do right now is get rid of this camera to view. What is going on? This is going to be a disaster. What is going on right now? Oh, is that just the displacement for a second? Oh my God. Okay, that's what that was. All right. Man, what the heck? Okay, so yeah. All right. So man, I wish I remembered. Man, I wish I remembered all this now. Oh, it's been so long since I've done displacement with like a noise texture. I don't even remember if you could do it this way. Okay, let's stop with the displacement for now. Okay, what do I got to do to get this fucking donut? Oh my God, I can't in my head now even think of what I did. We definitely did. I definitely did displacement. What did I do? What did we do? What did we do? You know what's going to be really interesting about this is I'm probably going to have to go back to the original that I did and then see how I actually did this effect. Okay, this is terrible, but hold on a second. What happened here with this texture? I swear to God. That's working. Why is that not working? It's to do with that. Oh, it's like this is not connected. I feel like I do. Yeah, I did. I duplicated something somehow and just caused myself all sorts of pain. I definitely have to fix that edge. Okay, let's just do the icing. Oh my god. Oh, this is so funny. This is so funny. Oh man. This is painful. I mean, I don't know why in my mind that this should have been. I mean, this should have been like not need anywhere near this amount of time, but I haven't even done the sprinkles in this thing yet. I've got 12 minutes left. Oh my god, this is so stupid. Okay, new texture, base color. What did we do? Blue. Scene. Yeah, so let's just go with blue. Roughness. God, I haven't even used the subsurface. I haven't even used the subsurface on the new nodes yet, which is interesting. Oh man, what is the subsurface? Is it just that simple? It's so bad. It's so bad. It's so bad. Oh my god, this is just so terrible. This is so terrible. I can't even get over it. I feel like I've done nothing in the last 4 years. I've done absolutely nothing. I just like a minimum want to get at least like, get this at least a minimum I can, and I'm sure I could do some modifier or something. But I think at least I got to get this out. Man, this whole side is fucked. Okay, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to get this at the donut, at least this icing out, even if I have to just, manually get this in and kind of fix it up after. I'm going to get all the icing showing. Then I'm going to, what am I going to do after that? I'm going to try quickly, see if I can do the sprinkles. I'm going to just do it with particle system. See if I can get some sprinkles on this thing. And then I'm going to add thickness to this. What is that? Oh my god, now my camera's getting in the way. Oh my god. So funny how this stuff goes. And then I don't know what I should do with this here. I think on the stream I should go look at what I did. So I'll finish up here at the hour. I have 9 minutes left. And then, yeah, I'll finish this up. Okay. So let's just add a solidify to this. So we've got like at least some thickness. We want to go in. Oh, it's so bad. It's way too thick. It's probably fine. Okay. And then what I want to do, man, this is going to suck. I wonder if I can just grab like, it's funny when you, like, if I was just working away on this, not really thinking about it, these things would be so obvious. But when you're rushing against the clock, you're just, your brain is. Okay. So what did I say? I want to get, wow, this is bad. Okay. So at least the donut's covered. At least the donut's covered. The texturing is god awful. This is a huge problem, but like this is all fixable. Like I can just go in and do this after. Okay. What did I say? Particle system. Okay, let's do the particle system. Okay, so let's see how fast I can do this. All right, so let's hide this for now. Let's go make our little, what did we do? Little cylinders. Tiny, tiny, tiny radius, 0.01, 0.01. I remember this part too. Okay, let's go figure out where those go. Cylinder. New collection. Sprinkles. Let's get this in here. Let's bring this out over here so we can look at it quickly. Okay, let's shade this smooth. No, let's shade this auto smooth. Let's add, no, let's not add a particle system. Let's add a subdivision to this. No, let's not add a subdivision to that. Let's add bevel. Let's drop the amount. Oh, now some segments. Yeah, let's do it like this. Good enough. 6 minutes. Okay, duplicate. We should really duplicate. No, we should duplicate, and then we should just do something with this one. I don't know, just add a little bit to it. This one a little bit longer. Okay, cool. Good enough. That's all we can do. Let's take these. Let's duplicate these this way. Let's duplicate these this way. Duplicate these this way. And then let's do new material. We're going to call this material sprinkles. Let's go roughness down. Let's just do pink. Why on earth? Oh, did I do that? Oh my God. Did I duplicate this one? Oh, there we go. Okay, roughness down. Good. Who cares? Good enough. I feel like I feel like something's going on with my keyboard on this. Okay. What I want is a random color, but I don't have enough time. So, let's go new material. So let's do all these pink. So pink. Pink. Oh, can I not change the material? That was dumb. Who cares? It's not going to make a difference. Okay. That was not the right way to do this. Three minutes. One more set. Okay, let's go. What do we need for color here? We got purple. Let's go red. I feel like this is gonna, I feel like I know what I'm gonna do here, but it's just not gonna work the way I think. Okay, so let's say we got all the sprinkles in here. Let's just try this quickly with the particle system, see if I can remember this right. Okay, so go into the particle system. We're gonna go to render. We're gonna render this as a collection. We're gonna pick sprinkles. We're going to figure out scale. Oh, there's, okay, so who we want, yes, hair. I feel like hair is the one to work. Let's get the scale up. Maybe I can't remember if we can do this with the emitter. Maybe it was hair. Okay, so we've got the sprinkles, but we need to rotate them. Where is it? Rotate, rotate, rotate. Rotate, rotate, rotate. Rotate. I don't remember now. Yes. Oh, that's so funny. No, we want them to rotate along. Oh, this is so bad. I have to be honest. I'm basically out of time right now. Oh my God. Oh my God. Why? This is so funny. Oh my God. This is one of the funniest things ever. I mean, they're technically sprinkles. It is like even like weight painting them so they're in the right spot. Okay, I'm just gonna figure out how to. I'm just trying to remember how to get these to actually get these like on the outside, and then I'm gonna call it. This is so funny. I can't believe Oh my God. That's my timer. Okay. I mean, I have to be honest about it. So let's just hit render as I said I was gonna do, and I just gotta get So let me just get the camera in the spot. As sad as this is, but I gotta be honest. Okay, so let's get the camera, and let's just bring the camera up. Oh my God, it looks so bad. Oh, at least it was in. It just doesn't look any better in cycles. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. All right, I'm going to render it out because I said that I was going to do it. Ooh, that is rough. Okay, so here's what I'm going to Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to save this. I'm going to post it this, man. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go open up the other file, the original Blender file that I had, and I'm going to just compare it. And I'm going to, we'll sort of like fix this up on the stream here. Or we'll go for a little bit longer. But this is like the official 1 hour mark. And I'm so embarrassed by this. You have no idea, because it's like every single thing that I think could have went wrong in that stream went wrong. And I don't know, but I don't even know if I had like an extra, say 20 minutes, I don't even know how much better I would have gotten that. I guess I would have solved, I would have solved the translucency of the icing. I would have got that right. I would have got the sprinkles properly on. I would have done the painting to make sure they're in the right location. I would have fixed the edges of the icing across for sure. What I don't know if I would have gotten, which is like, I know there was like a mental block somewhere. Hey, Lauren, I'm doing good. What a just wildly stupid thing for me to do. I think that I don't know, like, I honestly, I do not know what I did to get that texture. And I honestly think that if I had better lighting, like a higher quality render, I think I nailed a lot of the texture on that. And honestly do not know how I did it. So let's do that. Let's save this one. This is my Donut 2.0. Called it Blender 2.0. Let's go open that file, which I don't think I've opened in a while. Let's just go look and see what I did. And then let's come back and fix this donut, and we'll see what our end result would be. Okay, so let's save our images. This is a Blender thing, by the way, that I always, like, everyone forgets, which is we need our stupid image save, and then save the Blender file. Let's call it Blender Donut 2.0. Okay. Oh, cannot read file. What is that about? Okay, just give me a second. We're going to save this. Projects. Blender Donut Recreation. Working. Blender Donut. New. Okay. All right, so let's save. So let's go open up the original and let's go see what I actually did, which is going to be really interesting. It says final September 13th. Let's go with the final. Okay, so here it is. So let's just turn on. Wow. I mean, it's funny because you do this over like multiple days, yeah, you do this over multiple days, and you really take your time. You're learning as you go. But this is just kind of interesting. I'm just looking to see if I'm just going to denoise it. I'm just going to denoise the viewport. And yeah, it's crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. We can definitely, it's almost tempting to just go off this one and then improve it. But yeah, maybe that'd be, I don't know. If I had a big chat following, if anyone's watching in the chat, I don't even know. I haven't like looked at who's watching. Okay, so we have two options. So I did my donut. I failed miserably. It's bad. We saw it. That was what I did in an hour. It's embarrassing. I'm going to go look at what I did here now. And then I think maybe the better thing to do would be to start from this one potentially, and then just improve it based on like the stuff that I've learned and I know now. I mean, I can go back to the original, but I think it'd probably be easier because even just like the shape of this one, and like I like how this one is at least starting. Okay, so this was it. So this was the original render. So let's just go save a copy of this, and we're just going to call it new update for now, just so I don't mess anything up. Okay, and then let's switch this back and let's take a peek. Well, actually, no, let's bring the interface over like this. Let's just kind of set up my my standard. I'm going to just set this to Instagram crop. Let's bring the camera out a little bit. And let's set this one to render. Okay. So there's our donut. And then let's take a peek at what we did. All right. So let's start with the geometry. Okay. So we didn't do any subdivision, or we did the subdivision and then applied it. So we had a ton of geometry here. So I guess when we were doing our sculpting, that I'm guessing that's probably what would help quite a bit, is just having that ability to, you know, take a section of this and either do like proportional editing, you know, and manipulate. Yeah, that would definitely have made a huge difference. I don't know. I think it's like a habit that I picked up, is just like you try to work with like the lowest amount of geometry you can, which really in this case, I needed a lot of geometry to sculpt this. And I should have known that, because like when I've sculpted stuff in the past, like you always want to work with higher amount of geometry. In fact, there's a modifier that you can add. I think is subdivision multi-view. I don't know if they still have that. Multi-resolution, which is a sculpting subdivision. So basically it adds more geometry, and you can set what you see in the viewport versus what you're sculpting with to increase it for sculpting and then bring it back. So, okay, that was first mistake. So that was definitely number one issue, was like trying to work with that. And here it looks like I had a little bit less, no modifiers. So this was clearly enough to do what I needed to do. And, you know, that's basically all the geometry. These are going to have, we have icing donut. We're definitely going to have, that was the table, there's the studio, and there's the sprinkle. So we're definitely going to have, let's go take, let's screw the camera. Okay. So let's see what I did with the sprinkles. So yeah, this is kind of what I thought. What I probably did was I randomized the color. So I created 5 sprinkles. Didn't do the bevel. I assume I probably just beveled them manually or applied the modifier. So there's a little bit of bevel on that one, a little bit of bevel on this one. But I just sort of made them different sizes and shapes, and, you know, added a little curve to this one, and that was it. Okay, so that makes sense. So that was the sprinkles. And then let's go look at the particle system. Okay, so what I did with the particle system. Okay, so we did hair. We did advanced. We put 1700 sprinkles. We put the hair length to 4, which I guess is just what's controlling the size. I don't think I've ever used the hair system for anything else. Oh, emit from faces. So I think I probably had that set to, I guess it doesn't really matter, vertices, or maybe it was on volume. I'll go back and check that on the stream and see what I did. But emit from faces. Distribution was jittered, random order, even distribution, particles of face, jittering amount. Hair dynamics we didn't have on. Velocity we wouldn't touch. Rotation we did here. Maybe that was the phase that was randomizing, and then we randomized the phase. So potentially that's where I messed that up. I should have just done this with geometry nodes. Okay, we render as a collection. We changed the scale randomness. We kept show emitter. We did the collection. We instanced the collection. We did object scale, and then we just did a normal count of those. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, let's go look at what we did with the sprinkles texture. Okay, so it's just a super glossy texture. My guess is it's nothing. It's just, yeah, this is what I thought. I would not have remembered this. I've done this enough times, but every time I think I watch a tutorial, hey, Black, the chosen one, thanks for coming. Sorry, I wasn't very chatty on this. Okay, so couple things like I know I've done this. I would have forgotten about this random object info, which is great, which is what's actually randomizing the colors of the sprinkles, right? So it's just picking one of these random colors. It's applying it. The roughness is at 0. The IOR, there's nothing here. It's just a glossy thing. So right away, if we wanted to fix this, we could add some subdivision to these and then we could probably get the subsurface down. So I think that's what we're going to do. I think we're going to go from this one and just sort of see if we can improve it as opposed to going back to that original one. It just makes more sense. So yeah, that's what I did. We did the sprinkles. We had multicolor sprinkle color. I mean, everything here looks good. If I would do this again, I'd probably just add like maybe a bit of subsurface, maybe a bit of color discoloration on these. So like maybe fade it a little bit. And then add some subdivision just to make these a little bit more less jagged. You can kind of see how jagged they are here. Yeah, even with smooth, you can see that. So we can fix that up. I think like obviously if you're starting in Blender, particle systems can be heavy, and certainly if you're distributing a ton of these and the more geometry they have, the more performance intensive it is. But yeah, it's probably worth the trade-off to do this. Okay. And then let's take another peek at, yeah, so here's what's interesting. From a lighting standpoint, we didn't use an HDRI, which would make, I think, a pretty big difference. We use studio light. I think we just used one light. So yeah, we just had this one light up here. That was it. So basically the entire lighting system was just one light on one side, and then the camera. It's actually amazing that that looks the way it does just based on that one light. And then I guess we probably got it pretty decent with where we shot it. I probably, photography background, where did I shoot? My camera is somehow rotated. I'm assuming if this camera didn't move. Yeah, we probably shot it like this with the light. Yeah, just off to the side. Okay, let's take a look at what we did with the, we're kind of going backwards. Let's look at what we did with the texture for the icing. Says it, absolutely nothing. We just did roughness. We just did, I don't think we did, unless the subsurface doesn't come across. I guess we did a subsurface for this. Assume that's what that is. I've actually looked at subsurface at all with this new yeah, I haven't looked at any of this, so I think we should probably, this would be fun to kind of play around with this, but I think that subsurface is on. I can't really tell the difference, but that just could be because of the noise and it's not rendered. But yeah, that's it. Just kind of hit the roughness a little bit up, all the way down, and then it's kind of in a good sweet spot. Okay, this is what I'm curious about. What did I do with this freaking texture? Okay, let's get rid of the icing for a second and let's look at this donut. Honestly, I feel like this is, like, for that time, is kind of a work of art. And I'm seeing a little bit of what we did. And I think now, from I remember from this tutorial, okay. Okay, here's what I now I'm starting to kind of remember us doing something in the tutorial with, like, when you fry this thing, what we're trying to get is the fact that, like, the edges would get fried darker, so you can see like that kind of golden brown, and then this light part where it wasn't actually fried properly, which is a little too light here. It reminds me of those like it's like a fluffy, something like a cake you get at a gas station. But this is pretty good. And I'm just really wondering, I mean, I know this was like a full tutorial, like you just kind of follow along, you do what Andrew tells you to do. And he obviously had it pretty nailed. But super interesting. Okay, so let's go take a look at what we did. Okay, so we had a principal BS, we did use displacement. So we did a principal BSDF. with roughness 0.62. I'm guessing we didn't do any subsurface, anything weird. We probably left it all. And then what did we do? So we did mix. We mixed. So we took this color. We added. Wait, did we? Huh. So we added this color to this overlay. This overlay, this is just a pure mix. I wonder why we did that. Huh. Okay, figure that out. Okay, so this is a donut texture. This is the This is so interesting. This is really simple, but my brain's not quite wrapping my head around what we did. Okay, so let's just take a peek at this. For my own sanity. That's what you do when you're procrastinating. Okay. All right. And then we drop this into object space displacement, mid-level scale. And we did it. Okay. Let's go. Let's kind of go step by step. All right. So first thing we did was we used the object coordinates, which was interesting. And we used this noise texture. So this noise texture was going into this color ramp. So this is what we did. So we kind of did like scale, distortion, roughness. We kind of got pretty good shape there. And then we brought that in to, I guess we only used that for displacement. So we did that. Okay. So we did this noise texture, which was the tiny one, which was basically the bump. Tiny, 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 tiny. And then we added it to this, which creates that. Makes sense. So white parts are pushing out from a displacement standpoint. Black parts are pushing in, which is totally makes sense because then that goes into displacement and that's what gets the displacement on the donut. So if I go to scale 0, it goes back down. And that makes a huge difference. But the color is also what's selling it. Because if we get rid of that displacement, still the color's there. And this is looking closer to what I had, although it's okay. It's the color coming through. It's not bump, which was a mistake. I don't know why I used bump. That was kind of dumb. So yeah. So basically this scale. So then we're using that same mask into this overlay to add the color, this overlay color in to this. Okay. So here's the original color of the donut. Let's just get rid of the displacement, 0.03. Okay. So, actually. Okay. I'm not going to remember this. All right, color. All right. Okay, so here's the original color of the donut. Just this plain color, which is kind of what I started with. And then what we've got is this color, so same color coming in to the base color of this with the roughness, pretty straightforward. If I was to get rid of this, yeah, there we go. There's the base color. So now this base color comes into here, and all there is the difference is that we've got this mix coming in, which is where the texture of the donut comes in, plus the same noise texture we use to displace, we're using to color. That's the genius of this, which honestly I totally forgot about. But it's super smart. So the donut texture is going to be, let's just bring this over. All right. So the donut texture is going to be this. Okay. How did, huh. So now I'm really curious because where did I get the color? Did the color match? I don't remember. Honestly, I don't remember at all. So here's my settings. So I had the two brushes. Okay. So, okay. Couple things. So what I did, which was another weird mistake, was like I tried to create a texture mask. I wasn't really texture painting, to be honest. What I was doing was I was essentially vertex painting. It's texture painting because I'm painting on an actual texture. But what I was doing, which again, stupid, I was just basically, I was painting black and white. So I was trying to make a mask, and then I was using the color ramp to decide like, okay, let's use this light color and let's use this dark color. I would have got to the same place, but what I did here, and I'm just like curious if I was using a texture, which I would not have thought of at all to do. Where did that texture come from? I wonder, I'm trying to think whether that was just generated. No, it wasn't generated. Like, did he have, okay, so either this was like a texture that he said go download, or I can't think of, maybe this is built into Blender. I'm trying to remember where this texture comes from. So basically what I did, which you can see if I do it now, kind of sure it's going to work, is that texture, donut painting, texture, strength. Yeah, okay. So you can see what I did, right? So I actually took this donut texture, which is probably is a standard, image texture that I created. Don't know why it was 1048 by 1024, to be honest. That could have just been a mistake. That's odd. Oh, no. Now I want to go back and watch this donut tutorial video because I honestly don't remember this part either. I don't remember why was that image texture wide. Why is the UVs unwrap? Why are the UVs set up the way that they are? I don't remember this part either. Potentially we did it where we would get this UV set up. Like usually you're working with square textures. I've never worked with a wide texture like this before, and I do not know how or why we did it. Okay, so but what we ended up doing is we obviously were painting with this texture, and you can see it now. The fact that we've got, real subtle, like really subtle, we're able to paint on here with this texture. But the part that I am very curious about is whether we were matching the color with the displacement. Because you see here, like, hey, we did this darker. That must have been like another spot. We must have flipped that to a third color, like had another color in here that was dark, and then kind of just adding basically the coloration directly through this painting, which makes a ton of sense. It just looks like kind of completely off. And honestly, if there's anything I would do here, I would probably just lighten or just kind of get rid of some of this white and just kind of make the difference between the light and dark just a little less obvious. I think it was like a little too intense in the original. So I would just sort of make it like this was, fried, but just not. Like it's almost pure white in this one. Huh. Right? And then looks like there was some weird, just like mistake there. I mean, this would be under the icing anyway, so it wouldn't matter. Okay, good enough. So then let's bring this back. Okay, so we'll see the color is still way off, interestingly. We'll fix that after. Okay. So then is the noise texture that was generated here and the one that was generated here, I think it's just coincident. Like I don't think it matches. So basically that noise texture is coming in, being overlaid with the color from this. So this noise texture, combination of this one and this one, is acting as a factor, which is taking either the texture that we have here, this texture that we painted, or this, and basically overlaying a darker color. So I think all that's doing is honestly, it's not really super. Well, it's super useful in the fact that you're going to see when we add the displacement back, this is the part that's going to be brown. I don't really know what the painting part was really that effective. Like I almost wonder if we could have just used just this instead of the painting. But I guess like maybe the combination is just what makes it looks very different. So I can't remember what this was. 0.13? No. 0.013. 0.05. 0.025. Right, so let's just do like an experiment. So let's say if we took this color something there that's happening that's making, like if I just put this color in, no, sorry, that's the mask. Okay, so that's going to be used. Okay, maybe that's the difference. So this is just using this noise texture. So you can kind of see like it'd be a little bit darker here as it's kind of burnt. It's a little bit darker here, a little bit lighter where it's not, and then we lose the inside texture. So instead, we want to take this color and we want to take, what did we do? No, I can't remember. This wasn't the factor. There we go. So now what we're just doing is we're subtly mixing. I feel like this probably was part of the tutorial. He was probably explaining this, and you're sort of following along, and you're just like, okay, yeah, I got it. But you maybe just don't realize the subtlety of what he was doing with this, because this just looks, something about this, it just looks really good. Again, I honestly wouldn't change this that much. The only thing I would go to our texture painting. I don't know if we can do this here or not. Can't tell if that's actually working. Maybe it's just a saving thing. Yeah. So what I was doing before is working. So, like, I think if anything, just sort of slightly adjusting that. So now if I go back to here and refresh that, you could see it's like just a little bit less obvious where that line is. And I would say, like, in some cases for this donut, it's just maybe like a little too intense. Even the shape is a little too intense. But it's not too bad. I mean, I would almost like even go back a little bit potentially. It's hard to say. Interesting. Okay. And then, yeah. So let's go back to that. Let's refresh. I mean, I still don't feel like I could do too much to that texture to make it better. Maybe adjusting the roughness a little bit somewhere. Maybe this noise texture just being like a little less aggressive. So it's adding. Just see what that does. What's interesting about this is I'm gonna add a subdivision on this and just see. Like, I don't know if the fact that maybe, like, I'm almost thinking that the fact that there's not a lot of geometry here and a lot of this stuff happened, like, you get a lot of this kind of, you know, jagged edges, like, actually might add a little bit to the look of this. And it's like, it's kind of messing with me a little bit because, like, on one side, I feel like there's just, I feel like there's just, like, it's almost like a bump here that feels unnatural to me. And I don't know what it is. But maybe it's just the resolution of it or something. But yet somehow it works. Let's just see what happens if we add a subdivision on this. Oh, interesting. So it did, like, in a weird way. In a weird way, it almost helped. Okay, so see what's happening here. So see how this donut now looks like very smooth? Because if you look at the displacement, it was the fact that there was no subdivision was not allowing it to actually displace the geometry like in a clean way like it would normally do, right? So it ends up like looking this kind of jagged way that actually makes like a ton of sense. I would say, like, if I let's see if I just to kind of exaggerate it, like, look, there's the effect, right? So with lack of geometry, you can see what that does. It just creates this like explosion. It's kind of interesting. It almost looks like a cruller. Like if you were to make it more glossy and kind of lighter, it almost looks like a honey cruller. But okay, so here, let's do this. Let's bring this back to what it was. And let's just get rid of this. So this was kind of the original donut. And then I'm just going to do a copy of this. And we'll call this material fried dough 2. And then let's just see what happens if we add a subdivision. Let's just crank it up. Well, probably 2 is enough. And then let's just bring this up a little bit so we can kind of see the extreme. And then let's play with this, what's essentially generating the displacement, which is this guy. And let's say this is kind of good. We want the bumps, although, well, it's a little exaggerated here. But like, I want this noise to be a much less part of it. So I guess if I bring this back to just watching this, now it's that looks bad. It's crazy how it just, once you add a little bit of that, it just, I think there's like no other way around it. I feel like the magic was like in that lack of, and that's not too bad. That might look a little bit better. So kind of when you look at it close up now, you can see like it's got like the little textures. I'm just going to go look at, see if I can get donut dough macro. I don't know if we're going to be able to find the macro photo of this, but be interesting to try to do the inside of this, but interesting. Okay, let's go with this. I think it's a little less jaggedy, but I think like it's kind of an improvement because you just see a lot less of the edges, and it still has a little bit of, still has like a little bit of the jaggedness that was kind of making it look pretty good. So let's keep this here. And then I want to just play around with some of the settings here and just see what we could do with this texture. So I'm going to actually get rid of the surface. And you know what? Oh no, it's on. It just feels to me like the noise reduction's a little bit slow. Okay. So what I'm going to just mess around with is, and I haven't used this new principled BSDF node, so I'm just going to see what some of this stuff does. So obviously alpha is just that. The subsurface is what I'm really curious about. So I've honestly never used this, and I don't know exactly how it works. Wait, did we have it on? Was that what was happening? Was this the texture? This is interesting. It is. So so I guess so, you know, there's no normal. This is interesting, and I think that's why that was taking so long to render, and that's also why that must look so good. Is that subsurface is making that, so there this is with no subsurface, you just get a bunch of bumps and the light's hitting this, and it's kind of making, I mean, this looks like, doesn't look super bad from far away, but now when you add in, and that's why that was taking so long to render. So it is on, and then I don't remember how this, so I feel like, let me just see if I can get these. I'm just going to quickly look at the manual on these, what the new settings are. Okay, interesting. So there's a couple different subsurface scattering. You won't be able to see what I'm reading right now, but there's this one I'm using Christensen Burley, and then there's random walk. So I want to try both of those. Okay, weight is blend between the diffuse surface and subsurface scattering. Should be 0 or 1, either fully diffuse or subsurface. So where's that weight? Okay, so it's 0, 1. So this is nothing, full diffusion, or that's the scattering, which, like, huge difference. Okay, and then radius. Average distance the light scatters below the surface. Higher radius gives softer appearance as the light bleeds into shadows and through the object. The scattering distance is specifically separated for RGB channels. To render materials such as skin, where the red light scatters deeper, the X, Y, and Z values are mapped to the RGB. Scale applied to the radius. Interesting. Okay, so got it. So these technically should be the same. So like for skin, I guess, or maybe they're by default. Maybe by default they stay at this because this is what standard, like how light diffuses, red, green, and blue. That could be it. But then basically the scale is how far it goes. So 0 should be back to normal, and then as we slowly bring it up, that's how far the light's going in. And eventually, when the light goes fully through, you start to see the green because the red is being absorbed more than the other colors. So if I set this to 0.1, you can see it goes back to normal color, but like it kind of becomes very soft because all the light's basically going right through it. So if we're really going on normal scale, so this donut wasn't done to scale, for instance. So this donut's a meter across. So technically, if the donut was a meter across, I mean, I guess we could just scale the donut down, but like leave it for now. So if this donut was a meter across, we're basically saying like, okay, we want this to go in 0.1 meters. And there you get that kind of effect. And then as you bring it up, we start to get back to what we originally were. So I think when we first opened this up, it was 0.1. And I mean, I don't really think that there's anything to improve on that. So that's why it is taking a little bit longer to render is that was what's coming in. Okay. So specular, is generally, I wouldn't touch this. Actually, let's just flip this just to random walk and see what it looks like. I don't think it looks any better. Oh, that's interesting. That does a little bit of something. So it certainly looks quite a bit softer, but there was probably a spot there where that maybe looked a little bit better. It's hard to say. I think it kind of starts to have a little bit more of like a, yeah, I think I'm gonna leave that and see how that looks. Okay, so I wouldn't do specular. So transmission obviously is like fully like lights going through it, which, you know, is kind of like subsurface. It's just in this case, like the light will actually go all the way through, you know, to the back, and you'll start to see, you know, you start to see like the transmission, which I don't think, like if you shine a light through a donut, I mean, you would see some, but for the most part, I would say you probably wouldn't want to touch this. This is what I wanted to look at. So it's like a coat on the outside, which I haven't never used before. So I don't know, like the fact that we're also getting, you know, the displacement, how that's actually all working together. Like I don't know if it's picking up and like laying over, but I think this is without. Somewhere you kind of have to really wait for. Here, let's try something. So let's go. I don't know where my camera to view went. TN. Oh, where the camera to view has gone here. Okay. Let's just move the camera in a bit. And let's just grab the render. So this is just letting it render now. So it's never actually stopping due to noise. So you can see like what's doing is it's bouncing light, bouncing light, bouncing light. And it's because the light's shining through that donut, that like that coloration and like everything's kind of coming out. But you can see it's at 1,000 samples now. It looks pretty good. I think even now as it like starts to render and you get more samples, you can kind of see that this little bit of like bump like is creating that kind of like little bit of like you would see on a donut, like just like the little bubbles almost. It's actually now I would say like some of this other bump, like potentially like some of the kind of aggressive distortion that's coming out looks a little bit unnatural to me. And, we could adjust that. And even the color here, this weight is off, so that's not making a difference. So I think now that this is so interesting. It's almost like too red to me now. I think that has to do with the skin. Yeah. So it's almost was looking like skin. See how it's like it's hard to see probably on the stream, but like I don't know, I can see it much better on my monitor. It's not so good on this one. Maybe on the stream it won't come through, but this literally looks like skin. It's just like it's got like a red tint to it that's coming from this random walk. Whereas I go down here, I think as the samples come up, but now it looks like these almost like burn marks don't look right. Now you go to this looks like a little bit more yellow, which makes sense due to the color. Huh. So interesting. Okay. Thin film. I think this is new. This is new in one of the recent versions of Blender. It's I think it's for like bubbles, that kind of thing. I don't really think it's appropriate here. What I was looking for is kind of like I've used this in Unreal Engine, which is almost like it is like a pure clear coat in the sense that it's like really a like almost like another material on top. And it does make a really cool, like I think when you're like doing a glaze, this is where it would be really interesting. But we're gonna play with the glaze on it. Now, I think this is pretty good. I don't know, like I have to look at how this compares to the original, but even though there's like less of that bumpiness, it holds up more as you zoom in, and I think it's more realistic. So I'm gonna go with it and kind of see how it looks when I add the icing back in. So here's the icing. All right, so this is definitely, I think there's a bunch of room for improvement on this one. So let's get rid of the sprinkles and let's just look at the icing itself. So first thing is it is pretty thick. So I think like we could definitely improve that if we could get that down to, a little bit. And I think this, how did we actually do this? I think we must have added the thickness modifier. Yeah, we added a thickness modifier and then we applied it. So it's going to be hard to kind of get rid of that thickness now. But what we could probably do is just like maybe taper it off in the edges or something. But let's take a look instead right now at the at some of the materials for this. So there's really nothing to this one. So right away, I think what would be interesting is to let's start by just like playing around with some of the subsurface stuff and seeing how that looks, and then let's come back to maybe just adding a bit of like discoloration to that. So let's just take a peek again at this. So we did have quite a bit. Oh, that's so interesting. So we did have quite a bit of subsurface on this already. So you can see now with so if if basically the icing, so interesting what's happening here, because if I got rid of the donut altogether, and it looks like it basically is see-through. And I'm wondering if, because I set that scale, yeah, it makes sense. So I set that scale to like thicker than the donut, it starts to become transparent, but probably because the donut's behind it, the light's bouncing back through it, and I guess that would be enough to keep the color. I'm going to go into Blender. I'm just going to change this to full global illumination. So I'm going to increase the actual light paths on this. So yeah, you can see it sort of, yeah. So really, I think probably what we had was made sense, 0.25, something like that. 1 meter. And then transmission doesn't really do much. So this is where clear coat could maybe do something interesting, because you can see there it's adding a lot, the light. And I don't actually know what the difference between sheen and clear coat is. Let's go see. So specular, don't care, tint, don't care, coat. Oh. Oh, I see. So sheen is for materials. Never used that before. Okay. Or sorry, for cloth. So you can kind of interesting, you can add a bit of a tint. It's definitely the thickness of this. I'd be very interested what that would look like if it was really curious how to get a proper it could be interesting how to get a proper like glaze on this, like a complete clear, kind of just like a white, like a normal glazed donut. Kind of just messing with this now. So it's really interesting. I don't know if this is just something with Blender, but the fact that like it has transmission is going through the donut, but it's still darkening the donut. Right? Like versus, if you go on alpha, like this is kind of looks like just like a transparency. If you go make it kind of the same color, right? And you just bring the alpha down, you kind of get the idea. It is like, it looks like it's just too thick, but it's just like kind of a, translucent something on the top. But what's interesting was with you do the transmission, you bring that up and you keep the alpha full, it darkens everything. So it's like the light's going through, but it's not bouncing back off the donut. And like I wonder if it's just like a limitation of Blender with the fact that it wasn't that. Oh, there we go. So that is a difference. So if you go to direct light, so these are light paths. So if you go full global illumination, that means that like to Blender now there's 32 bounces. You can set this even higher. It doesn't really make a difference, I guess. I haven't messed with these settings that much. But now you can see there's a bit more light is passing through, but I don't know why we're getting those. My only guess is maybe it's like where it's actually touching versus where it's not. Because like the thickness of the icing goes through, like it's not outside of the donut, it's actually going through the donut, which is maybe why that's happening. But either way, let's just kind of play with this. Yeah, I don't think unless we make this a lot thinner, this is going to work. So let's go back to our original icing color. Go like the kind of a blue. It's honestly, it feels like that we're not going to get much better than what we had. Very interesting. probably like that. All right. Let's try this. So I'm curious, before we go anything else, I'm just curious what happens if we add like an actual HDRI. So I have asset browser, and I have a bunch in. These are all outside. So let's go see if I can find one from inside. There's a couple. This is like kind of got a coffee shop vibe to it. This is interesting. So, you know, I guess the interesting part here is like, so we just had that one light. Like we just basically had no, we basically had no lighting in this scene. Well, we had basically this, we had gray, which is, is really, it's just adding like kind of very basic fill light over here. You can kind of see it. Looks bad, but it's kind of it's the default for Blender. And because of that, really all the light we had was this and that, right? So there's a little bit of gray comes in, it's super flat. And then we add this light, which adds like the nice shading, although this gray looks, there's not much detail here because it's just a gray background. But because it's not very bright, the textures look pretty good. And if you look at this light is currently at 650 watts, which is pretty strong, but the donut is 1 meter. But you can see as we kind of scale up the lighting, it starts to get, overlit here over, this scene, obviously. I don't know, this may be the camera. I don't know if we like drop the exposure potentially. We might have. But at 650 is that. But as soon as you add like a proper HDRI, you can see that it kind of falls apart. Because I think the way that we did, so this is in a photo studio, like lots of lighting coming through. Old hall, photo studio loft, rooftop. Here's like an actual like full photo studio, right? With like lighting all over the place, but like coffee shop kind of thing. That's outdoors. I guess this photo studio loft that I have is probably the closest. This is a kind of like an indoor venue. That's not bad. So let's just turn it to transparent. And I can adjust. Like typically you'd want to set, like if you look around this room, there's kind of lighting everywhere. So that extra light may not really work, but let's just say bring this down to 0.5. And now you get much more fill lighting, so you kind of lose that. See the difference? So you can balance this, like you can drop this down. Or you can just crank this up, right? It's interesting. Objects. You can really see the clear coat. Which that makes a difference. You can almost see that effect, right, where it goes so too far. And then you go here and then just drop a little bit. Icing still just doesn't look right. All right. Let's finish with the sprinkles. It's like I'm actually kind of shocked how little I can improve this. Other than just like cleaning up that geometry a little bit with the subdivision. I don't know like how I could get that ice. That's like thick icing unless I just go and actually adjust that, which I don't think there's a way that I can think of right now to just take the geometry of this and thin it. Because it's, it's one of those things where if you don't use modifiers, if you do the solidify and then you apply it, like you kind of lose that ability. So the only way I could do it would be, duplicating the top of the donut again and like redoing all the drips and all that. Okay, but let's just, while we're here to finish this off, let's do the sprinkles. So I think what will help on the sprinkles is probably just doing the subdivision. So this is sprinkles 1. So just to kind of show you the difference. Oh, I was going to do some discoloration too of the icing, but I don't even know if that's like that necessary. So there's the difference, right? Just kind of smooths it out a little bit. It does add a lot of geometry, so like render times would be, but like I remember when I did this tutorial, was just using an old MacBook Pro, and then I've upgraded since then. So a lot of people learning this stuff, you would be using something. Yeah. So I like, again, I don't know how much there is here. This one might be interesting to kind of play with. Like there's, sprinkles are not normally that glossy. So this had no subsurface. That might actually add something. Having a little bit of a like a light capture on those things. They almost look like, they end up looking like they're glowing almost, right? Because the light's passing through them so many times when you add this. So off, on. Pretty close to off. Something like that. It's kind of close. Let's just take a peek at how this looks. So we go back to the donut, the icing. We turn on the particles and just kind of go see how that looks. So this is an interesting one because I could go in here and actually do this, which would be, I don't feel like you can do this with hair, but I know like if I was to do this again with geometry nodes, you could actually take the geometry and just make sure that this doesn't happen. And I think because this is coming out as hair, I don't think that it has like a way to do that. I can't remember there being, obviously you could just keep randomizing it until, you feel like you've got, and I forgot, this is probably where we have that weight paint. Yeah, we did. So this was part of the thing, was you kind of weight paint this to make sure that the sprinkles don't end up, like they more end up on top and less on the side, which would have been interesting to do. I think I would have to go back and do this with geometry nodes, which would essentially do the trick. I don't feel like I want to have the patience to do that right now. I may come back to this after, but yeah, I don't know if it like necessarily, they have more of a chalky look to them, which kind of makes sense. But I would say like now looking at this looks to me like this icing needs to be, that's so interesting. That's, man, I don't even know. I don't even know. Other than the thickness of that, which would be interesting to do, and the geometry nodes. And I would say that now, okay, let's go look at the surface. So the surface was, it's like, it's so funny. There's like so little I can actually do to this. I think I mean, other than the subdivision stuff, it's like, I don't even know. Because even just this surface is just kind of, it's kind of perfect. It's just a half, it's just a glass. I mean, I even went like broke the rule and made it part metal. I mean, it's just a simple. I mean, I could add some smudges and stuff. I could add some smudges and stuff to. got. You're just curious. I have like this procedural texture pack. I'm just kind of curious how different things look on here. As you know, on like a kind of a wood table. There's something like you might see like at a coffee shop. A stone. Concrete. Oh, I think I broke it. I had a really good I have a really good material. I think something's messed up here. Yeah, this is rock, but I feel like I have a good plastic material somewhere that's I had a good plastic material that's got like some smudges on it. I'm just gonna go see if I can find it. See if what that does. Plastic. Red plastic, white plastic smudged. I think this was it. Yeah, so you can see the smudges on that. It's kind of subtle, but I think it's probably getting taken out a little bit with the noise reduction. But there's a little bit there. Just adds a little bit something to the table. Let me just see if there's any. Is there displace? Is there bump? No. Normal. Roughness. It's not a lot. I even remember this with the donut. Like even the donut should be like even with the donut. Like I remember like that spot being the most kind of pleasing spot symmetrically. It just felt like the best. I'd have to see how this would look fully rendered because the thing that sometimes you don't get in these previews is again if given enough time, the light bouncing through it looks good at the beginning, and then as the light bounces through, you're like, oh wow, that's way more like transparent looking than it should be. But like I gotta say, just like looking at this donut now and just like from these angles and stuff, like it's hard to pick apart like a lot of issues with it other than the thickness maybe of that icing. Now that I've got, there's enough subdivision on this and this, I'll certainly move around the lighting. We can add a backdrop. Could put it on a plate, but that's not too bad. So I think what I'm going to do is like even looking at it on this other screen, even like with like less detail, like it's pretty good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to render this out, just see if there is any difference between like the little changes that I made in the original And what I'll do is I'll post this side by side so you can see the original one I did, these like small improvements that we made to this. And then I don't know if there's any point in going back to the one that I did earlier in the stream. Like I certainly could bring across those changes and finish it up, but I feel like it would probably end up very close to what this is. The only difference would probably be, again, is like that icing, which is just, I don't really want to handle. What might be interesting would be to go back to that other one, make those adjustments, maybe do the geometry nodes and like maybe then do some animation or something with it. I also want to watch the old Blender Guru videos to take a peek at both how he did the first one and like all these little subtleties that I don't remember that he must have mentioned in that video, all the way to the second one, which I haven't watched yet, to see like what does he change, what are the improvements. I know there's, I think, some animation in that one which, you know, would be fun and interesting to do. But you know, I think if there was anything that I'd be very curious about would be how to make that like this exact. So if I open up my images, I had this saved image that I was using during the stream. Where was it? Is this. This is interesting. Like I look at that and I'm like, that would be very interesting how to make that. It's the same exact color as the donut. It has like the thickness down here. It has the actual reflection. This would be, I think, the big challenge would be to try to make that with even just like the little, like where like some of the icing is thicker or thinner, or maybe even trying to get into something like this with the flaking or dryness of, but like that, even just something looks wrong about that. It's like, this could end up being AI because I mean, it's pretty good around here. It'd be surprising if, but it's just kind of funny that it's such flake. Maybe it's just the donut was old. They had it sitting out for a long time, but just the flakiness of that donut, you don't normally see that. Okay, so I think that's it. Complete failure, but fun. And actually, you know, I would say from my standpoint, you know, I feel like probably from this, you know, maybe the lesson here that I'm learning is like, like there was so much into that, like so much in that original piece and so much detail that went into it that was like I maybe didn't appreciate at the time. You know, you're doing a tutorial and, you know, the guy's, you know, someone's telling you do this, then this, then this, you're just following along and you feel really good when it works, but you're just following direction. And then you don't go back to it to realize like, what was I actually doing there? Like, what was the reason for that? Why did that actually go the way, you know, it went? So I think like maybe like I have a new appreciation for that. I want to go back and kind of watch that and see if like now that I have some experience, those subtleties. And then, yeah, in those moments where you just like, you don't have like, you're going quick and you're not like, you don't have a lot of time, is really interesting because there's just so many moments there where I realized like I wasn't thinking properly about how I should do something. I just kind of was panicking and doing it a certain way. But yeah, I'll render this out. I'm curious. I'll bring it back to like that original aspect ratio, and just kind of see how it looks. Maybe it looks better than the original. You know, once I kind of zoom in and look at it, or maybe it really didn't make much of an improvement at all. But yeah, I'll give it a try and I'll post the results and we'll see how the slight changes I made to that donut hold up over the original. So thanks for joining the stream. If you're not already, just subscribe on YouTube or Kick or Twitch, wherever you're watching. If you're already on Twitter or X, probably follow each other. But thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you.